The story begins during the time of the Second World War. The Soviet Union has invaded Poland and taken many people prisoner. Among them is an army officer named Janusz. He is accused of several false crimes and is ordered to sign a paper admitting guilt. But Janusz refuses to sign. Then the officer sitting in front of him does something cruel. He calls Janusz's wife inside. She is crying, shaking, broken. She points at Janusz and says that this man is her husband, that he hates the Communist Party, and that he spies for foreign countries. Hearing this, Janusz is completely shocked, but deep inside, he knows the truth. He knows she has been tortured. He knows she has been forced to say these things just to survive. Still, the damage is done. Janusz is sentenced to 20 years in prison for espionage. In the year 1940, he is sent to a Siberian labor camp. This prison is in a place from where escape is almost impossible. Endless snow, dense forests, freezing winds, no roads, no cities, just death waiting quietly. As soon as the new prisoners arrive, the jailer warns them. No one has ever escaped from this prison alive. Anyone who tried died. When the prisoners stand in line for food, Janusz notices an old man who is starving. Without thinking, he gives the man his own food. Another elderly prisoner watching this shakes his head and says, "There's no place for humanity here. If you give your food away, they will cut your ration too." This prison holds prisoners from many different countries, and all of them are treated brutally. That is when Janusz meets another prisoner named Khabarov. Khabarov tells him that he used to be an actor, and when he played the role of a rich man in a film, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Janusz is stunned. He can't believe this is real. He asks quietly, "Is there any way to escape from this place?" Khabarov looks at him and says, "No, there is no way out. Don't even think about escaping. If you try, you will be killed." The next day, all the prisoners are taken into the forest to cut wood. Janusz works, but his mind is somewhere else. He is watching, observing, measuring, looking for a way out. That evening, the actor comes to Janusz and speaks in a low voice. He says, "I have a plan to escape." Janusz freezes. The actor explains that he has been searching for someone brave enough, someone strong enough, someone like Janusz. He tells him that around 500 kilometers away, there is a lake. If they follow its edge, they can reach the Mongolian border, but not yet. They must wait until the cold reduces a little, and they must secretly gather as much food as possible for the journey ahead, a journey that will last thousands of kilometers. From that day on, they begin saving tiny amounts of food. Every crumb matters. One day, as the prisoners are returning from the forest after cutting trees, a violent snowstorm hits them. The cold becomes unbearable. Many prisoners collapse and die right there. An old prisoner, desperate to survive, runs toward the forest to take shelter. The officer in charge shouts at him to come back, threatening to shoot him, but the old man screams back that if they stay where they are, they will die anyway. He ignores the order and runs into the forest. Seeing this, the officer angrily orders all the prisoners to move into the forest as well. They quickly build makeshift shelters and hide beneath them. That night, they survive. The next day, the officer lines them all up. He is furious about what happened. As punishment, he sends Janusz, Mr. Smith, and several others to work in the mines. The mines are worse than hell. Most prisoners die there from poisonous gas or suffocation. Inside the mine, Janusz begins to hallucinate. He sees his home. He sees himself walking toward it. Mr. Smith grabs him just in time. If he hadn't, the guard would have shot Janusz on the spot. Janusz breaks down and says he cannot stay here. He needs to go home. He needs to see his wife. He tells Mr. Smith about the actor's escape plan. Mr. Smith sighs and says, "That man is a liar. He told me the same story before." But then he pauses and says, "If you truly want to escape, I will come with you." Janusz asks why. Mr. Smith says, "Because you are a good man, and if something happens to me on the way, I trust that you will carry me." That night, they finalize the escape plan. There are 7 of them. Mr. Smith, an engineer; Valka, a Russian criminal; Tomasz, an artist; Bus, a priest; Ron, an accountant; Kazal, who is barely visible at night; and Janusz. Janusz says, "Tonight is perfect. The weather is terrible. Strong winds, heavy snow. If they escape tonight, their footprints will be erased by the storm. The guards won't be able to track them." They shut down the generator, which can only be turned off for 10 minutes. They cut through iron wires, and they run. The next morning, the guards realize what has happened and begin the chase, but the snowstorm is still raging. They can barely see anything. An officer orders dogs to be released. Meanwhile, the prisoners keep moving forward. The cold is unbearable. Walking feels impossible. Janusz takes a knife from the criminal and cuts tree bark, making face coverings for everyone. They wear them tightly. The bark protects their faces from freezing, and silently, painfully, step by step, they continue their journey into the white unknown. By the time morning arrives, they are already far away from the prison. So far that reaching them is almost impossible for the guards now. They stop at one place and gather everything they have brought with them. Every piece of food, every crumb. When they count it all together, the truth hits them hard. They only have enough supplies for a few weeks, and the journey ahead is still painfully long. After resting for a short while, they start walking again. Janusz knows one thing for Sure, they have to keep moving south. He uses the position of the sun to guess the direction and leads the group forward. Their destination is Lake Baikal, and from there, the Mongolian border. But even now, the lake is still very far away, so they keep walking without stopping. When night falls, they stop in a forest to eat. Janusz looks around and says the cold is going to get worse tonight. We'll stay here, but if we want fire, we need to gather wood. Everyone spreads out into the forest to collect firewood. That's when it happens. The man who can barely be seen at night loses his way while collecting wood. One by one, the others return with firewood, and then they realize one of them is missing. They go back into the forest, calling out, searching. Their voices swallowed by the trees and the wind, but they don't find him. Exhausted, defeated, they return to the camp. At sunrise, they see him sitting not far away, frozen, dead. The cold has taken him. They bury him right there. Janusz stands quietly and says, "Today, a free man has died," and they move on. Days pass as they walk. Long, empty days. Their food runs out. Hunger becomes unbearable. They eat insects, worms, even bird eggs whenever they find them. They were supposed to reach Lake Baikal a week ago, but after losing their way, they are still far from it. One night, as they sleep, they hear animal sounds. They move closer and see wolves feeding on their kill. The group scares the wolves away, and then, like animals themselves, they fall onto the carcass. They haven't eaten properly in days. The next morning, Janusz says he will go alone to find the lake. If I don't return within a week, assume I'm dead. And he walks away alone. The path is rocky, dangerous, merciless. He struggles to survive. At one point, he even eats tree bark just to stay alive. Still, he doesn't give up. Once again, hallucinations begin. He sees his home, feels like he's walking toward it, but somehow, with the last bit of strength left in him, he turns back. He reaches his friends and manages to say, "I found the lake. It's 3 days from here." And then he collapses. They light a fire and warm his frozen body. The next morning, they all head toward the lake. As they pass through a forest, they feel like someone is following them. Then they see her, a woman. She says she escaped from Russia and begs them to take her along. The group refuses. They don't have enough food. Their pace would slow down, so they leave her behind and move on. When they reach the lake, they see a deer stuck in the mud. They kill it. For the first time in weeks, they have enough food again. That night, the priest quietly goes back into the forest. By evening, he returns with the woman. They feed her and allow her to join them. After resting through the night, they continue their journey again. The woman blends into the group and tells them her name is Irina. She is from Poland. Her father wanted to be a revolutionary. The communists killed him. Weeks pass as they walk. Finally, they reach the Mongolian border. Villagers are working in their fields nearby. But before crossing the border, their criminal companion Valka stops. He says he wants to stay here. He can't go any further. Janusz says goodbye to him, and the rest move on. When the remaining 6 cross into Mongolia, they see a photo of Stalin at the gate. That's when it hits them. The communists have taken over Mongolia too. All hope drains from their faces. They have risked everything to get here. Their lives, their souls, and still they are not safe. Janusz breaks the silence. He says they will go through China, then to Tibet, and from there to India. India is under British rule. They will be safe there. But to reach India, they must cross the Himalayas. The mountains stand before them like a wall. Still, they decide to move forward. Once again, they begin their journey. Thousands of kilometers still remain, and not all of them will make it. Ahead of them rises a massive mountain range. Crossing it will not be easy. Not at all. There was no water to drink here, no food either. In the desert, they killed and ate whatever small animals they could find just to survive. To fight thirst, they soaked pieces of cloth and sucked on them. To protect themselves from the sun, they used their overcoats and whatever clothes they had left. But the heat was brutal. Slowly, everyone's condition began to worsen. Soon, even their drinking water ran out. Then Mr. Smith noticed something in the east. Trees. He said, "There must be water there." Janusz immediately shook his head. He said, "That's an illusion, a mirage. There are no trees there, and we must go south, not east." But Mr. Smith didn't listen to anyone. He started walking toward the trees. When they reached the place, it was real. There was a well, real water. They went mad with joy. They drank as much as they could, filling their stomachs with water for the first time in days. Everyone wanted to stay there and rest for a few days. But Janusz understood the danger. "Yes, there is water," he said, "but there is no food. If we stay here, we'll grow weaker. Soon, we won't even be able to walk." So, the next morning, they filled every container with water and continued their journey. As they crossed the desert again, a massive sandstorm began moving toward them. They tried to hide, but the storm was merciless. Most of their precious water was lost. Now panic set. The next day, as they walked forward, Irina suddenly collapsed. Mr. Smith rushed to her side. Her legs were badly swollen. Walking was almost impossible for her. Still, she forced herself to move, not wanting to slow the group down. But after a short distance, she collapsed again. The priest lifted her onto his shoulders and kept walking. Yet Irina couldn't go on any longer. Before reaching the destination, she said goodbye to the world. Her journey ended there. They buried her in the desert and moved forward. They had no choice. Walking was the only option. They now had only a little water left, just enough to wet their lips. Soon after, another companion, the artist, collapsed. He died too. Now only 4 of them remained. They buried him and continued walking. With every step, their bodies broke down further. Their hope weakened, but still, they did not give up. After many days of suffering, they finally crossed the desert. Ahead of them, they saw mountains. Where there are mountains, there is water. But now Mr. Smith collapsed as well. He said, "Leave me. "I can't go on." Janusz refused. He sent 2 companions ahead to find water. While he stayed with Mr. Smith, they rested there until evening. They were too exhausted to move. The next morning, a snake crawled over one of them. When they tried to catch it, they discovered something unbelievable. Water. A small stream, barely flowing. They licked the wet stones, drinking drop by drop. They gave water to Mr. Smith too. They caught the snake and ate it. Strength slowly returned to their bodies, but Mr. Smith still couldn't walk. He said again, "Leave me." Janusz refused. To give him strength, Janusz spoke about his son. Years ago, Mr. Smith had traveled to Russia with his son. They were arrested. His son was forced to give false testimony against him and was executed. Mr. Smith had lived ever since, blaming himself, punishing himself by staying alive. Janusz said, "They did the same to my wife, but she is still alive, and I refuse to let her live her life thinking I abandoned her. I must reach her." Hearing this, something changed in Mr. Smith. His strength returned. The next morning, all 4 men began walking again. After hours of painful travel, they reached the Great Wall of China. But China was not safe, so they chose a harder path through the frozen Himalayas toward Tibet. The cold nearly killed them. Still, somehow, they reached the Tibetan border. A Tibetan monk found them and took them to a Buddhist monastery. They were welcomed with kindness. They were fed, given warmth. One monk told them, "To reach India, you must go through Sikkim, but the cold is severe. You should wait here for 3 months." Janusz refused. "I can't stop," he said. "If we rest too long, we'll never move again." Mr. Smith made his decision. "I'll go to Lhasa," he said. "From there, I'll reach China. The military operations there might take me to America." After resting one night, Janusz prepared to leave. He walked alone at first. Seeing him go, his remaining companions followed him. Mr. Smith stayed behind. Janusz and the others crossed the icy paths and finally reached Sikkim. The villagers welcomed them warmly and took them to their homes. They had walked 6,400 kilometers on foot from Siberia to India. They had lost many companions along the way, but their journey was finally over. In the end, we are told that Janusz could not return home for the next 50 years. Poland remained under communist control. He traveled across countries, across continents. Then in 1989, Poland finally became free. Janusz returned home. Before his eyes was the same scene he had seen countless times in his dreams. He lifted a stone, took out the hidden key, unlocked the door. Inside, his wife was sitting, old, weak, but alive. They looked at each other. Tears filled their eyes. After decades apart, they embraced and cried. And with that, this true story comes to an end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.